King, Price, La Familia forever. I remember those days, bologna sandwich with the chips. I remember those ladies, my hair was changing colors on me. I remember those grades before I started going bald. I remember those braids. I remember lights on the night. I remember no presents for my birthdays, no Christmas in December. I remember all those prison bus transfer through the winter. That is something I would never forget. Yeah, I remember I have always been a shit talker, always had a bad mouth. Mom and pops were alcoholics, drinking till they passed out. I had to cook and clean up the house, take the trash out. I had to learn to gamble with life until I cashed out, selling crack, heroin, coke. I took the fast route. I watched my dreams shatter like stones thrown at a glass house. Investigations led to reincarcerations. All the prison time wasn't worth the money I was making, so I switched it up, went back to school, secured a 9 to 5. Tired of living life like a fool. It's not my time to die. My life's ahead of me. At least I pray it better be. Just wanna be successful like Drake, cause that's my destiny. Hunger pains locked in a cell. Let's not rewind it back. Then number next to my name. What type of life is that? COs beat me down like a slave without me fighting back. Head, face, and body bruised like a Mike Tyson match. Traumatized, I remember those days. Bologna sandwich with the chips. I remember those lays. My hair was changing colors on me. I remember those grades before I started going bald. I remember those braids. I remember lights on the night. I remember no presents for my birthdays, no Christmas in December. I remember all those prison bus transfer through the winter. That is something I would never forget. Yeah, I remember I was tucking my heat through them cold summers. I remember running them streets like a road runner. I remember selling that haze by the quarter pounds. I remember police raids, everybody down. I remember hustling flow out somebody's basement. I remember ducking parole, facing violations. I remember I seemed cool before I blacked out. I remember Chinese food in the trap house. I remember cooking that coke, I cooked it in the crack. I remember telling them crackheads smoke that in the back. I remember counting my money, kicking feet up. I remember I was counting my money for the re-up. I remember I was deeply invested and I loved it. I remember I was getting arrested, thinking fuck it. I remember when I used to party hard like a rock star. I remember riding in the backseat of that cop car. I remember those days, bologna sandwich with the chips. I remember those lays, my hair was changing colors on me. I remember those grades before I started going bald. I remember those braids. I remember lights on the night. I remember no presents for my birthdays, no Christmas in December. I remember all those prison bus transfer through the winter. That is something I would never forget. Yeah, I remember. I could never forget. King, Price. I remember every time the COs locked me in that cell. Correctional officers, New York State Department of Corrections. I remember every time they beat me down like I was a slave. Hands cuffed behind my back, tearing my clothes off me, pepper spray in my eyes, punching me in my head, kicking me in my head, punching me in my face, kneeing me in my face, kneeing me in my legs, kneeing me in my... Man, I remember. It was terrible. And the only thing I could think, you have no idea. You have no idea. I remember every time they locked me in that cell, only thing I could think, you have no idea who you're locking in. You have no idea who you're beating up, who you're jumping, gang assaulting. You have no idea. King, Price.